This is Jonathan Agoff here for Pro Boxing Fans, joined by Gareth A Davies this Tuesday morning. Gareth, how was your weekend? How's things?
Very good, thank you. Obviously, dramatic events at the Copper Box with Dave Allen climbing up into the heavyweight division again, and gaining loads of resonance rather, and also I'd say righting the wrongs of a bad decision against him in Riyadh 6 months ago, which I know caused obviously a lot of controversy with the Fischer family, but. Listen, I didn't take any pleasure in the way Johnny Fischer was knocked out by Dave Allen, but I do think he's got poetic justice in terms of getting the result this time, and he wasn't going to leave it in the hands of the judges.
How did you read the fight up until the fifth round? Because it seemed like Johnny was in control to an extent. I had it 3-1, I think. How did you see it up until then?
Yeah, 3-1 or 4-0 for Johnny. The first round you could have scored for Dave Allen, but also you could have. It was a close first round, but you know, Johnny Fischer was winning the rounds, but he wasn't making a dent in Dave Allen, who was kind of walking him around. Johnny Fischer using the fullness of the ring to circle, staying away, throwing the jab, clinching, throwing a 1-2, maybe not being as aggressive, or maybe you could call it reckless, as he was in the first fight when he got caught there almost in a mirror image in the fifth round in Riyadh in December. But I think, as Johnny admitted afterwards, and he gave some very good interviews afterwards, and Dave Allen admitted, Johnny didn't impose himself enough in those early rounds as well, and put enough of a dent in Dave Allen. Hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it? But he didn't do too badly in the first fight in the first four rounds. He was beating Dave Allen up. Um, but I think, as Johnny said it himself, he probably got his tactics wrong in the second fight. Fought the wrong fight.
Yeah, it was a brutal finish. We've all seen it. What's the rebuild process like for Johnny Fischer?
Well, I was very impressed with him afterwards. The interviews he gave, he showed his emotion. He said how important it is to have the family around him, and I agree with that. Obviously, um, the psychological structure, the scaffolding, as sports psychologists call it, very important for him after the fight and how he rebuilds. It's a difficult rebuilding process. What I liked about what he said afterwards, Jonathan, is my O is gone now, so I don't need to worry about it. I'm going to go in there and just fight next time. And that's really good to hear from him. He's a ticket seller, as we know. Anyone that sells 8,000 tickets and is an area champion is actually going to be a very wealthy man and a real commodity to any promoter in the world. So there's all of that side of it. But they're going to have to rebuild slowly towards the British title again. Had he beaten Dave Allen a second time, they would have talked about fights with David Adelaide and so on, and challenging for the British title. But he's going to have to build carefully again. But I liked how he was mentally. He's not a broken man, but it is going to be a difficult rebuild.
And for Dave Allen, I mean, he's got lots of options, I would have thought. Anyone you want to see him in with particularly?
Well, the obvious one is David Adelaide for the British title, but obviously David Adelaide is potentially going to fight Jamie TKV first in the second fight after that controversial first fight where they were told to break and David Adelaide knocked Jamie out. But one of the ones that I've thought about is a rematch with Dillian White for Dave Allen. Obviously, um, Dillian White slated to fight on the Ipswich Portman Road card in June. But you could see Dave Allen and he fighting unless Dillian White believes that he needs a bigger name, bigger opponent. But right now, certainly on British shores, Dave Allen's a big resurgent name. So I could see that fight happening.
And obviously, a lot of the build-up was kind of, well, based around yourself and John Fisher. But like you say, I'm sure you didn't take any pleasures in Johnny get knocked out the way he did. Have you reached out to Johnny or John or anything like that?
Well, no, because I'm persona non grata with them at the moment, and I wasn't even acknowledged around them in the build-up. I'm going to give them their space and let Johnny, let the dust settle, let Johnny regather himself, let the family grieve the loss, if you like, if I can put it that way. Yeah, I had a lot of people wanting me to take great pleasure
Mm.
in Johnny's defeat on Saturday night, but I'm not into Schadenfreude. I'm not into delighting in other people's misfortune. Um, I commiserate with him what happened to him. I congratulate Dave Allen, but I commiserate with Johnny. I've never had a beef with Johnny. His dad didn't like the fact I said the first decision was a disgrace, and it became kind of blown out of all proportion. And many interviews on it in the build up, and Big John doesn't hold back. I mean, I've stuck to my guns on how I thought the first fight went. I thought it was a clear victory for Dave Allen, and in the second fight, he wasn't going to leave it in the hands of the judges, as I've said. So I have no malice towards anyone in the Fischer family. They're good for boxing. They're a terrific family, and I hope at some point I get to sit down with Johnny and do an interview with him.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a couple of other things. Tyson Fury, do you think he's coming back, and when do you think he'll be back?
Absolutely, I think he's coming back. The writing's on the wall, the dots you can join. I don't think the Instagram post with Big John Fury and Tyson yesterday, dressed ready for a business meeting, is the signing of the deal to fight Anthony Joshua. But you join up all the dots, and I'm speaking to a lot of people behind the scenes. Tyson's in shape, he's back in the gym. John Fury wants to be in his corner. Sugar Hill Stewart's been around in recent weeks. There is definitely an attitude that he's got an itch to scratch. Anthony Joshua has revealed his surgery and he'll be ready for camp. I think we see these two guys fight in October, Jonathan. Potentially it could open Riyadh season for the Saudi Arabians. People won't be happy about that, but I could see 30,000 Brits travelling to that one. Were you there for the Kingdom Arena when they fought the first one?
No.
I mean, 23,000 in there when they fought, first of all, last year in the delayed fight for the undisputed title. It was an amazing atmosphere. People will want it to be at Wembley, but if there's that money there from Turkey Al Sheikh and the Saudi Arabians, I could really see the first one happening over there. I could see them signing a two-fight deal as well, but all the signs seem to point towards Tyson Fury's on the way back, and it wouldn't surprise me to see that fight signed in the next 5 to 6 weeks, and a two-fight deal with an October fight, and then maybe an April fight if there's going to be a second fight at Wembley Stadium in 2026.
Well, so you think both men will just go straight into that? No warm-ups, no nothing.
Well, I'd liked that to happen. I don't think they really need to. I think it delays things. I think there's a terrible habit of things going wrong in boxing when you do that. A cut eye that delays a fight, or an injury that delays it. No, I think it's time to get this divisional fight, the championship of each other, the biggest commercial fight in boxing, on the road, signed, sealed, and delivered.
Lastly, we last saw Tyson in the public in at Tommy Fury's fight in Budapest. Just on Tommy, what do you think is the future for him? Do you think he'll go back to sort of the misfits guys, or do you think he'll look to maybe pursue a domestic kind of traditional route?
I point you to the comments of Jake Paul in the last 24 hours, which is he cannot wait for a rematch with Tommy Fury, who he believes has not progressed in the 3 years since they fought the last time. I think, was it February 2022 they fought each other?
Uh, 20,
Something like that,
yeah,
22 or
yeah.
23. Um, he says that Tommy hasn't progressed and he can't wait to go in there and deliver him a boxing lesson. That's the fight that's going to happen, and it will happen, in my view, quite soon, in the next 12 months, maybe even this year.
Interesting. Gareth, I'll leave it there. Appreciate your time, and I will speak to you soon because there's plenty of big boxing stuff happening in the next few months.
Absolutely. Always a great pleasure to speak to you, Jonathan. Thank
And
you.
yourself, take it easy.
Cheers.